Alright, what's up everybody? This is Ace the Prophet, and you guys are watching another episode of Honest Ace, where I give you guys honest feedback about what I think about your tracks. This week we're doing another review. We're going to be reviewing the project High Times by Jeff Skigh. Last week in Elijah Wan's review, I accidentally said HighX, but it's actually High Times. It's spelled HighX, but it's High Times by Jeff Skigh. He is another MC from Flint, Michigan. This album has 20 tracks, so we're going to go ahead and just get right to it and start reviewing this project, High Times. Alright, so the first track on here is called High Times, and it's an intro. The beginning is kind of like a vocals. It has it makes you feel like you're high. The sound effect on it is very echoey, very high. Goes into, after about around like a minute, 45 seconds, something like that, goes into a melodic, soft-sounding type of beat. Jeff Skigh has a dope, quiet delivery on the track. The flow's very simple, but it's smooth. That's the tone for the album, with the expectation for a lot of weed tracks, a lot of marijuana tracks, so it gives us a good general direction of where we think the album's gonna go. Alright, track number 2 is called Lounging, parentheses, Dollar Bill. Got another spaced out beat on this. He's got his, Jeff Skigh has his dope, quiet delivery on this again. He executes it very well. He sounds very comfortable on the beat. Definitely sounds like he knows what he's doing and knows how he wants to express himself. You have a definite ganja vibe in this track. Super chill. It's a super nice switch up in the beat that goes right into the hook that I really like. I think the vocals on the hook could have been executed a little bit better, but the overall feel of the track is still there. It's still good. I almost want this track to end with another verse, and it doesn't, so I kind of missed that, but I do really like the track, and I think that it's executed very well, and I do believe that you're pushing this as a single right now. It's a good choice as a single, so definitely like this track. Alright, track number 3 is called The Guild. The intro is very quiet, but it's got a really nice sound. This beat, it sounds very radio friendly. I definitely really like the beat right off the bat. Kind of reminds me of like a beat that like Dr. Dre and Nate Dogg would have gotten on back in the day. That's that kind of vibe. I really, really like it. Still have the deep, quiet delivery again. It's still executed very well. It's a very comfortable style that you got going on here. Melodies and the beat are dope. This is bringing me in. I really like it. Just makes me want to nod my head and just vibe out with it. I really like it. The flow on this is nice, and it's very easy to follow. It's not as simple as before in the prior 2 tracks, but it's working well. I really like this flow. The hook on this, I think it's executed better than the hook was in Lounging. This one definitely grabs me in, has me listening to the melodies. It's really good, man. I like this. I definitely think that this track should be pushed as a single if you aren't already pushing it as a single. I definitely really like it. I think it's got that type of feel. It's a very good track to push. Like I said, it's very radio friendly. You can bring in a lot of people with this. I like that. Switch up into the third verse is really sweet. I like it. The little sound effect on whoever is in the third verse, because it wasn't listed, I like it. It sounds nice. It makes for a dope combo, and this is a really nice chill track that I really like. Alright, track number 4 is called Dog, parentheses, Hustle Hard. Really like the melodic acapella intro to this track. It's got a dope feel. It's a good way to set the pace for the track. It's a good setup. I love the kind of little quickness that goes into it, and it kind of grabs you in. You don't really expect it, but it goes in and it sounds nice. Back to the deep, quiet delivery, which I have been expecting is going to be continuing on in this track, because you perfect this style pretty well. I really like it. The quicker flow on this, I really, really like the quicker flow on it. It's a good switch up, and it's different from the other tracks prior to it, and so it brings me in. I really like the sound of it. Kind of wanted to hear the melodic sound in the voice that we had on the intro going into the flow here in the first verse, but it still sounds really well. It's still executed very well, and I don't really have a problem with it. That's just something that I would have liked to see, but it's still working very well, and I really like this. Beat is a little bit of a different style from the first few, but I think it's a good choice of beat. I really like this beat. It's unique. You can definitely do your thing on this. It's a very friendly rapper beat. You know, you can definitely flow on it, do whatever you want on this, and I really like the feel of that. Switch up into the hook. I like it. It kind of like drops out a little bit, and it lets your vocals stand out on the hook. It's the same as the intro, and it grabs me in. It's simple, but it's catchy, and I really like that, man. I think it works very, very well. Second verse on this kind of feels the same as the first, which I don't have a problem with. This is another very well executed track, and this is a very dope song. I definitely like this song. Alright, track number 5 is called Sarah Lee, and it features Biz. This has a kind of old school TV intro, just to kind of set the pace. The beat on this is a lot more melodic sounding. Deep, quiet delivery again, like it. Quicker flow on it gives it a nice touch. This kind of quieter, quicker flow, I think it fits your voice very well, and I really like that style, man. And this kind of like quiet, deep voice delivery that you got going on, it sounds very polished. You can definitely tell that this is your style and it's working very, very well. This is something that you've perfected. That's definitely, you put your stamp on it. You're doing your thing, man. The half singing in the chorus has a kind of cool, chill vibe that I like. There's a really cool overall feel to this track. Just very chill, very melodic. Just want to sit back and listen to it. Lyrics have some substance to them too. I like that. Biz, he's a good switch up. His vocals, they sound mixed a little bit different than yours do. That was something that I think could have been improved, but sometimes that's kind of hard to fix up if you're not recording in the same place. His flow is simple, but it sounds nice, and it complements your style and the beat very well. This is a good feature, and overall, this is another good kind of chill kickback track that I really like. Track number 6 is called Investment, and it features D-Walk. Another track with a deep delivery and quicker flow. You definitely know what to do. Style is definitely a strength, and you are executing that well. Track kind of has the same feel as the rest of the tracks so far. It's another calm, head nodding, dope beat kind of feel to it. You know, just a track you want to just sit back and listen to. So I do like that kind of continuation as we're going on with the overall theme of the album. D-Walk's voice kind of contrasts from yours, but it still complements it well. He didn't really do anything complex on the track, but he still did his thing on the track. Sounds very good on it. Another really good feature. That's another strength that I'm hearing in the album so far, is you can find some good features on this and some great beats as well. I was hoping for another verse from you to finish out the song, but it's still a good track and I dig it. I just wanted to hear that third verse from you, just to kind of finish it out. That's the only thing I can pick on this track, but I do think that it was a really good track and I like it. Alright, track number 7 is called Soy Bueno. Beat, it feels a little bit more upbeat than the other beats on the track, and I do like that. I like the intro that we had on this. It kind of made me laugh a little bit going into it. It gave it a good feel. Beat, it fits your voice really well. I'm glad that the hook isn't as melodic on this like the past few tracks have been, so it kind of stands out a little bit more. I really like the drop off from the hook into the second verse as well, as it gets a little quieter when you can do your thing with your vocals more, and it makes you stand out a little bit more, and I really like that, man. The simple flow is working really, really well on this track. It's bringing me in, and I'm loving it, man. This is a really good track. This track just keeps grabbing me in for some reason. Like, it's just something that I want to listen to. I like how you gave it the Spanish title of Soy Bueno, but you don't really say that in the track. It's just, I'm good, you know, like I really like it. It's a really dope track. There's a really dope outro to it too. This is another track that you can definitely push as a single, and I think it's dope, man. I really, really like this track, and it's definitely one of my favorites so far. Track number 8 is called Bitches and Hoes. The intro to this I thought was kind of hilarious. Just kind of listen. It's got a nice spacey beat. Stood out to me was just the fact that you just kept saying the same thing over and over, and that made me laugh because I kept anticipating you to go in and get a verse going, and just kept saying the same thing, you know, bitches and hoes be all on my dick, and like it just made me laugh because you kept doing it over and over. And given the fact that this is basically a 420 album, it's hilarious to me. I love the placement of this. I think that it's a funny track. You know, obviously we didn't really do much with it, but it's very funny and it's a great placement and it's a good mix up. It's like a skit mixed in with a track, and I like that. Alright, track number 9 is called Whatever. I love the guitar intro on this, man. The deep bass too in the intro, I love that as well. It sticks out so much from the rest, and that's one of the reasons I really like it, because it's so different and unique to the rest of the beats that we've heard so far. It's very refreshing. Verse on this is chill. You're going with the same kind of style that you've done on the previous tracks, so we know exactly what to expect from you when we hear it. It's a good track. You're executing your flow and delivery very well, and you've definitely mastered this style. The hook to me on this is just kind of it doesn't really like bring me in, and I wish that it was a little bit different. I like the change in the beat, but I'm just not a huge fan of how the hook was executed. I think that it's probably just some rewording of lyrics that maybe we needed to do. Just say a little something different. We can still do the kind of like half singing melodic deal that we got going on here, but it just doesn't bring me in like I want it to. In the second verse, the cutoffs in the beat is very intriguing. Do love the flow that you do once the cutoffs stop and they drop off. Definitely brings me in. It's something unique, and it was a good mix-up. It was a good switch-up on that, man. You got some cool little storytelling in here. I do dig this track. I just wish the hook that was a little bit different. Overall, it's a good track, though. Alright, track number 10 is called Her Pleasure. It has just the first thing that I noticed about the beat is it has a unique sound effect that sounds kind of like distorted vocals. It has a unique style once it switches up, and you're riding the beat well right now, man. It's definitely good. The hook, I do really like this, man. It has a Kanye effect on the hook from 808s and Heartbreaks. That was the first thing that I thought of. I do like the feel of it. It's a different sound than we've heard on the album so far, and I do like that switch up. It's bringing me in. I really like it. The second verse, it has a completely unique sound from the first verse. I really dig it. It was a good switch up. Definitely a fan of this track just because of its uniqueness. I think it was executed very well, and I love this track. It's definitely one of my favorites, man. Alright, track number 11 is called Chillin' in Goldenrod. Starts off sounding kind of like old video games in the beat. We got some old video game sound effects. I dig it. It sounds cool, man. The melodic kind of singing in the background is kind of cool too. It gives it a good feel. I think that the vocals on this kind of sound just like a tad low, and I think the beat's kind of overpowering some. It's not a huge deal, but it's something that you could look to improve. I'm digging the slower flow on this track now since we haven't heard it in a while. It's a good switch up. Once again, it's very refreshing. You're definitely bringing in things that I want to hear. When I want to hear something different, you're starting to bring me something different. So you've got a good anticipation of what you think people are going to want to hear on the album, and I like that. On the hook, I'm not 100% sure if I'm digging the half singing on the hook. The style of it, the reason to do it, it makes sense. It goes with it, but I don't really know if I'm a big fan of it. So that's just one thing that I'm thinking right here. And the lyrics on the hook kind of sound semi-familiar, so I don't know if that's borrowed from a song or not. At least that melody was at least bringing me in. It was familiar. The track is cool in spots. It's not my favorite track on the album so far because the other ones that we have done, or some of them are really good. But this it's not my favorite so far. But I still like it. I think it's a really good choice of beat at the very least. It's a very good choice of beat on the track, and in the verses you're doing your thing. So. Track number 12 is called Anniversary, parentheses 420. It features Bison and Glory. This track kind of has a chill 90s type vibe in the beat. I love those style of beats, just the chill 90s style, and so I immediately like this. I dig your style on this track, man. The track overall, it does sound like it's sounding a little bit lower than the rest of the tracks so far, so that would just be something to look at when we're mixing that in the future. The hook in it, I'm going to assume that it's Bison based off how we listed them in the tracks. The hook is cool. It's chill. It's not my favorite hook, and it's very simple, but it works. I like the kind of style that he does on it. It's a cool little hook. You're coming at this track with the same style that you have been before, with the slow, deep delivery, quiet, deep delivery, not slow, deep delivery. And it's cool. Once again, you're executing your style well. The third verse, who I am assuming is Glory, he definitely has a dope sound. I really like his sound on this track. It's a contrasting style to yours because he doesn't have like the deep growl in his voice like you do, and it's a little bit higher and a little bit more, not like melodic I want to say, but there's like a little smoother sound to it rather than the graspiness, and I like it. It's a good switch up. It makes for a dope combo from you guys. Overall, this track, it's pretty dope. Overall, there's a really good feel to it, and I really like it. The vibe that I get from it is definitely a good one, and this is another really cool track that you've done here, man. Right, track number 13 is called Roll So Much. Immediately I can tell that our volume on the tracks are back on point. This one's louder and it's sounding a lot better to me. The intro to this is dope. I really like just the kind of cool singing into it. It's cool. I like it. We're coming at this track again with the slow flow. I think it's working really well with this beat, with the kind of, not really like, there's a little bit of spaciness in it. It's a little deeper, but the slow flow's working good with it. I think we got a really good pace on this beat. It's really dope and really chill, just as all the other beats are on this. I think you have a good ear for beats. You know exactly what to pick. You know exactly what you're gonna sound good on, and you know exactly what to do on them. So I can definitely pick that up from your style listening to these. There's some cool lines in this as well. I kind of like the line where you're saying that the weed is so strong that it inspired you to start flexing. I like that twist in that. You know, that's a good one. I like it, man. I really like the hook on this too. The intro is basically the hook, and I think it's executed well, man. Everything fits together just perfectly. It's seamless how you can transition from the verse into the hook and have it be this singing, and have it just sound so different from the rest. And it's grabbing me in. It's very intriguing sound. I really just want to keep listening to this. It's very, very pleasant. I just love the feel of it. This gives the overall track just such a good feel, and it just makes me want to listen to it more. This is a really dope ode to marijuana, and even though I don't smoke and I'm not a fan, I really like this track. This is easily one of my favorites, and this definitely should be pushed as a single if you haven't pushed this as a single before. Alright, track number 14 is called Scenic Route, and it features Ro. The intro on this is kind of a talking intro, where it's just giving a little bit of advice, so it's kind of cool to start off the track like that. Alright, the style that you're using on this verse kind of feels a little bit different from the past few. There's a little bit of a switch up in the flow that's a little different. It's not exactly the quick flow, but it's not exactly the slow flow. How you started off the verse, there were just some different patterns that you were using, and I like that. It was a good switch up. The verse that you're doing on this, it just sounds effortless, man. You know, that's how I can tell that you've definitely perfected this style, and that you're feeling just very comfortable, because everything that you're saying, it doesn't even sound like you're trying. You're just talking over the beat, and it's just perfect. I get a good vibe from it. I can get, like, you know, a sense of your personality. Like, it's just something that you've done. You're so comfortable on it that you know exactly what to do, and I really like it, man. You've definitely had this style perfected. Ro's style, I like his style. You know, he's got a little bit of a higher voice than you, but it complements you well. I do like how you guys are going back and forth a little bit. Ro, when he comes in on the second time, I like that a lot more than the first time, for sure. He definitely did his thing. I love the feel of this track overall. I really love the spacey beat. Once again, another dope beat selection. You guys definitely did your thing on this track. It's a dope track, and I really like it, man. Track number 15 is called La La La, parentheses, Sweatpants. This has another chill, deep beat, but it has a different feel to it with the kind of sound effect that we have going on in the beat, so it gives it a unique feel from the rest of the tracks. I do like the Peyton Manning line that you used in there, man. Says Peyton's playing for the Broncos, and I'm from Denver. That line resonated with me. Flows back to a little bit of a slower flow on this, but it's still a dope feel. I like it. Whether you're doing the slower flow or the quicker flow, you know exactly how to execute it. The La 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 singing that we have in the hook, I think it's really nice, you know. It's kind of got that like half singing feel, but it's still got a very chill vibe, you know. It's just la 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 la. Like I like it, man. It's really nice. I dig the vibe that I get from this, you know. I have some dope punchlines in here too, and I think that this is another track that you have executed very well, and it's another very dope track. Alright, track number 16 is called Yoga. I think that the beat on this is very dope. It's a very good beat. I love the yoga explanation in the intro also. Just kind of, it's another thing that you're doing it well. You know exactly how to set the pace for your tracks. It's another good line on how to start the track. Vocals on this, they sound mixed a little bit differently than they do in prior tracks. I think that may just be something that I know just since I've done so much music. I don't know if the average fan might notice, but that's something that I picked up on. I do like that in-laws line that you do about saying how you guys do not relate. I like that line. That was a cool one. I like the drop off that goes into the beat, how it goes really quiet, and then you can just go in and do the yoga explanation again in your hook. It's a really sweet, it's sweet, man. I really like the feel of it, and it's executed well. It gives it a dope feel. The second verse has some storytelling in it, and I like that. I like how it goes into the hook too. It's a cool way to end the track, and this is another track that you've executed pretty well, man. Track 17 is called Better Days. We've got another deep, spacey type beat in this, coming at it with the same kind of style that you've been using. It's got another dope feel to it. I love the sound effects that we've got going in the hook. I do like the storytelling that you're doing in these verses too. Just got a really good feel to it. It's got a very personal vibe to it. I do like the in the hook. I really like the hook. It's very simple. I do like the kind of singing that's going on in the hook too, with the girl in the background. I think that gives it a very dope touch to it. The singing that you do too at the end of the hooks, I like that. It almost kind of reminds me of Snoop a little bit. Kind of has that sound to it. I like the continuation of the storytelling going into the second verse also. I think that gives it a really dope feel. What I think that I really love about this track, man, is that it still has that same dope feel that we've had in the prior tracks, but it doesn't quite rely on it being a marijuana ode as much as the other tracks have. So this track has a little bit more of a personal feel to it, and I can definitely pick up on some things from you, man. And so this that's why this track is standing out to me a lot. Definitely one of my favorites, and I do think that this is another track that is worthy of being a single. Definitely push it when you can. This is a track that I would recommend pushing pretty hard. Alright, track number 18 is called Under Your Nose. Right off the bat, I can tell that I definitely like this track. Quicker flow on this. It's got a really sick feel to it, and I really like that, man. It's bringing me in. The hook on this is gotta go in with another half singing type hook. I really like this. I think it's really nice and it's really catchy. The drop off in the beat too. That's another thing that I found that's kind of consistent in this album so far, is going into the hook. It's kind of like a drop off, and you kind of do your thing with your vocals. The singing just kind of like it brings me in. I like it. The second verse, it's a continuation of the singing, so it's a good switch up in styles, you know, something different that we haven't heard on the album so far. So this is something unique and refreshing, and it's having me listen a little bit closer to it. You know, it's something that I really like. Singing that we're doing in the second verse, it goes in perfectly with the hook. It blends in perfectly with the hook, and that's another thing that I really like about this track. I think that overall this track is executed very well. It's got a dope feel, and it's got a very sweet, unique type sounding beat that I really like. This is another example of another dope track that you're doing, man. Good. Alright, track number 19 is called SSDD, and it features Milo Starks. The piano keys that are in the intro, they come into this having a really strong feel. Your verse on this, you got another effortless delivery, man. Like I've said, you've perfected this. You know exactly what to do. The style is just perfect, man. I know exactly what to expect when I'm listening to you now, and it's another dope feel. You know exactly what to do, and you're doing your thing on this track. On the hook, I am assuming that that's Milo. He's got a dope style in his delivery, and definitely contrast from yours, but still fits it very well as well. I like it. You can tell that it's the hook. It's got a good sound to it. It's bringing me in. His style on his verse too is pretty dope. I like it just because it's different from the rest of what we've heard on the album so far. His flow doesn't sound anything too complex, but he's still doing his thing. He's comfortable on the beat as well. He's another dope feature. You know how to get some dope features on your tracks, and that's another thing that's standing out to me about this album. Definitely a strength that you've got there. The track, I feel like it ends a little bit abruptly, and I would like to hear like a little more, have it like mellow out a little more, but overall the track is still really good, and I really like this track. Alright, track number 20 is called High Times, and it features Go Yama, and it's the outro to High Times. Got a very melodic intro. It's got some really sweet sounds into it. About a minute into it, because I hadn't realized this yet, but I started to wonder if it was just going to be an instrumental. After a while I realized it is just the instrumental. It's just it's still a sweet composition though in this track, and it's got a very jazzy feel to it. I've got a friend who does jazz. His name is Gene R. Singleton Jr., and so after listening to his music, it helps bring me into this, and so this is something that is appealing to me. I really like it. It's so different, it's really relaxing, and it's a cool way to end the album. So that's something that I really liked. You know, it was just because it was so different. It's a really cool way to end the album, just having this kind of like let you zone out and just listen and kick back. So once again, that's the track High Times. Alright, so overall, this album, High Times by Jeff Skigh, I was honestly very, very impressed with this album, man. You had such a professional sound throughout everything. The tracks always sounded mixed well, besides the one that sounded a little bit low. I was pleasantly surprised listening to this, man. As I kept listening to it and I kept thinking of things that I wanted to hear more, it's like you knew, you anticipated what you thought the listener was going to want, or at least with how you placed the tracks on the album, you know exactly how to switch up things. So that was something that was really cool to me. When I wanted you to go ahead and do a quicker flow, you started doing a quicker flow. When we started hearing the quick flow a little too much, you started going back to the slower. You know exactly how to do it with the melodic hooks and then non-melodic hooks and different. You had a different style for a lot of things, and overall I think that these tracks were executed very, very well. It was definitely one of the strengths that I picked up from this album, and especially just how comfortable you were with everything, man. With the quiet, deep voice delivery, you definitely have that style unlocked. That's something that you perfected. Like I kept saying, everything just sounded effortless when you were going in on your tracks, and it was something that was really cool, man, because it just didn't, nothing sounded forced. The entire album, nothing sounded forced to me, and that was something that I really liked. You just kind of you went in and did your thing, and that's one of the things that's really hard for a lot of MCs and rappers and artists to do. So that's definitely a strength that you have. No matter what type of beat or style that you're looking to do, you can just go in and just do your thing. You sound very comfortable with it. The beats in this album, I really like pretty much all of the beats that you had on here, man. You have a good ear for beats, and it was something that helped bring me in. Just knowing how calm and cool sounding that all of these beats were. They were very chill, they were very friendly, and you could get almost anyone to listen to them just based off the beats alone. Some MCs and rappers choose like just ridiculous sounding beats just to try to sound impressive, and you didn't care for that. You just went ahead, knew what beats sounded really good, and you went in and did your thing on them. That was another high point to this album for me. It's a 420 album. The beats definitely complemented that as well. It just the overall feel to it. Definitely a lot of them had the marijuana type feel to them, and the smoke out type vibes, and that was reflected in the content on the album. It was so everything just fit very well together. The concepts for the album, obviously, as a 420 album, there was a lot of marijuana concepts, and it was aimed towards that audience. Everything that you did was aimed for that audience, and I think that you executed everything well. You knew exactly what to do that would appeal to that audience. The main thing that I think that I would want to hear a little bit different from you is just maybe a little bit more of a melodic delivery, just a little bit something to switch up in the voice. It's just so I don't get too used to the deep, quiet delivery. Just a little bit of switch up in that I think would make things sound more interesting. But at the same time, like I've been saying, your delivery that you have right now is just so polished, and that style, it just sounds so professional and comfortable, that it's just such a unique strength that you have that it almost doesn't even need to be tweaked. It's just a little bit something that I would want to hear differently for my personal preferences. Give you a different challenge to try to accomplish, just so there can be a little more variety. But like I said, at the same time, what you've got now, your style right now, is just absolutely perfected. It's very comfortable, and like I said, everything just sounded effortless, and that's so hard to do, so hard to get your style to sound effortless and have nothing forced. So that's still one of the main strengths that I see, and that I think is a very, very, very good part to you being an MC, is you have your style, you have it locked down. I would just like to see a little bit more variety, but even, like I'm saying, that's just like it's so minor what I'm trying to tell you what to do right now, because what you've done is just so perfect, man. I think that you've got your style down. But yeah, man, overall, I think that this album, it sounded very dope, and it sounded very professional. I'm very happy that I listened to this, and I'm going to be going back and playing a lot of the tracks that I really liked. Some of them being The Guild, Soy Bueno, Her Pleasure, Roll So Much, La La La, those were all really good tracks for me, man. They were executed so well that I do think that you should push all of those as singles if you have not already. Two things that I was afraid of going into this was knowing that it was a 420 album. I wasn't sure if I was going to like all of the tracks just since I'm not a marijuana smoker, but at the same time, like I said, you've been executing things so well that it doesn't even matter to me that a lot of these tracks were about weed, because I could still tell that you did your thing and it brought me in as an artist and a hip-hop fan. These were still tracks that I really liked and I really vibe with, and I can resonate with a lot of these tracks. So that was good, man. The second thing that I was afraid of was that it was 20 tracks, and since there's so many, I was afraid that some of them were going to push me away and you know, I would lose interest, but I didn't. You know, you kept my interest throughout this whole album, and so that was another strength, and it's another compliment to your style with how professional and comfortable and effortless you sound with your style. So that's my overall feel. This was a very good album, and I was pleasantly surprised by how good it was, and this is one that I'm definitely going to recommend to everyone that's listening, and especially my buddies that are bigger smokers. So be sure you guys check it out. It's a free download. Jeff, I think you're absolutely crazy for not charging for this album, but since it is a free download, you guys better go ahead and take advantage of it right now. Once again, his name is Jeff Skigh. It's Skigh, and the album is called High Times. It's HighX, but it's called High Times. So be sure that you guys go and get that. I'm gonna go ahead and put the links obviously in the description, comments on Facebook, etc. Gonna go ahead and keep promoting this album too. So be sure that you guys check this out. I don't have any more other reviews lined up right now, so yeah, we'll probably go back to the normal format for next episode since I have no other reviews lined up. If you guys do want a review or you want to be a part of Honest Ace, go ahead and hit me up on my Facebook page, and we'll go from there. I'll let you know what to do. If you want one of these reviews, I'll let you know the cost of it. Otherwise, thank you guys again for tuning in. Be sure that you check out Jeff Skigh and his album High Times, and we will see you guys next time on Honest Ace.
Another day up on this life crusade, uphill battle, not rattle, simply on my way. To be frank, I ain't got time for no acting. I'm in my own lane, ain't gotta worry about no passing. I'm relaxing, seat back, a young jack of all trades. I'd rather be enlightened, why niggas be throwing shade. I'm schooling niggas to grade. I normally puff his egg, breaking down those frosted flakes. Got me feeling so great, don't it make you feel good?